More and more, contemporary IT is defined by the cloud. In addition to the rampant adoption of public cloud services, IT leaders are increasingly investing in cloud operations across their entire infrastructure environment, whether in the public cloud, private cloud, or hybrid. To better understand the direction of cloud adoption, ESG recently conducted new primary research of over 370 IT professionals responsible for evaluating, purchasing, and managing and building application infrastructure. To help me unpack this data, I'm joined by Rob Strechay, Senior Cloud Analyst at ESG. Rob, let's start with the rise of multi-cloud environments. We found that nearly 9 in 10 organizations leverage multiple public cloud providers, with 65% leveraging more than 3 public cloud providers. Rob, in relation to multi-cloud, what did you see in the data?
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, it was really interesting. I think that, and not surprising at all, that organizations that were in regulatory heavy types of verticals or had geographies in far-flung regions where they had manufacturing or remote offices, and those who had to support various and numerous different applications tended to have more CSPs. It's also not surprising that those multi-cloud strategies were particularly high for financial services, healthcare, and manufacturing, where data locality has an importance and plays an important role in how they deliver those applications. Some of the top challenges were the worry about the coordination and cooperation among the various different teams when they're moving applications and app data between data centers and service providers. There was also concerns about a lot of the planning involved, and adjusting any of the factors after the fact can be extremely costly.
I like the industry insights that you see there. You talked a little bit about some of the challenges, but what recommendations, if any, did we see in the findings?
Yeah, so I think that, hybrid and on-premise really comprise the majority of the expected investment. I think consumption model has to be top of mind for these customers. They need to look into the pay-as-you-go types of strategies. I think companies are also looking for ways to drive consistency about how they manage this infrastructure. That's truly going to be important so that they get leverage out of their DevOps, SRE, and IT ops along the way.
Yeah, I think, as environments become more distributed, as we start integrating more localities, that consistency is going to become more and more paramount as you talk to. I want to transition to the application environment. I mean, we saw in the research, transformation activities are dominating the strategies for existing applications, including migrating to public cloud infrastructure and replacing certain apps with third-party SaaS equivalents. What recommendations might we have for IT leaders and how they architect those environments?
Really off the top, they need to evaluate what applications they're really going to transform or build into cloud native applications. And for those that don't need to be transformed, they may want to look at and take an abstraction view, see how they could move as is. I know lift and shift is a dirty word, but they need to really look at how can they do the minimal amount of transformation before they move to the cloud. Maybe leveraging a VMware-based service as that abstraction layer is a good way to go.
Yeah, and I want to focus a little bit more now on those transformation activities that you talked about, especially around app modernization and, specifically containers. Containers are quickly becoming a new unit of measure for IT organizations. We saw in the research 4 in 10 current container users report more than half of their applications run on public cloud services. And companies using containers are more likely to have their apps in public cloud. And this number is expected to grow precipitously in the future. What did you see in the research specifically about the role of containers?
Well, I think companies are leveraging container technology as a key component of their infrastructure going forward. And part of this is for infrastructure and site independence of those applications. Although this is a big advantage, it can also make it extremely complex to manage. That was the biggest, I guess you could say, key that we saw, that the number and types of applications and locations was increasing massively with the adoption of containers.
My perspective on all this, taking a step back is, these trends around disaggregation and modernization are poised to only continue. With more apps and more containers spread across a larger and even more distributed environments. Modernization, along with standardization, that I think, Rob, you highlighted, is going to be a key theme here. It offers a way to incorporate new clouds, containers, and other modernization efforts without adding overwhelming complexity to the environment. And with that, I want to thank everyone for watching.